2023 Super Bowl is over. The Chiefs won yet again, the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions. But all that really means for us is 2024 fantasy football time. In 2024 best ball time, we have huge contests. Underdog, drafters, FFPC, hopefully soon to be DraftKings. Tournaments to draft already out there in the best ball landscape, and we're going to get into that tonight. A little bit of Super Bowl recap and figuring out who we need to be drafting in our 2024 drafts already. Now that 2023 is over, let's do it. I love this comment from Vadim. Perfect intro to a fantasy football draft stream on what is today? February 12th. On February 12th, the day after the Super Bowl. Wake up, sickos. It's 2024 season, because that is what it feels like. It did feel like we drafted some teams before the Super Bowl in that little lead up period, a couple week lead up period to yesterday's game, which was awesome. We'll talk a little bit about it here in a second. But it feels like now that that's over, it's like really like this. I had the realization today that fantasy football in particular, driven by best ball, has really become year round. Like I had that realization today, like this morning, of being like, okay, now it really feels like I need to draft a team. like it felt like it before, but now I'm like, I like got the itch to like today to like, and then my wife's like, oh, thank God we get to do 2024 drafts now. I'm like, at least you don't have to deal with me watching. I'm not going to watch the games on Sunday. So at least our Sundays have freed up. Maybe your Monday nights haven't freed up, but Sundays have freed up. It's crazy. Today was just, I had the weird emotions, but I think it was all like stemming from, man, this is crazy. Like even someone like me and you who are so invested in this and obviously building a whole company around it, it's still hard to fathom. Like the day after the Super Bowl, we're like, yep, time to draft 2024 teams.
Yeah, like I said, I think the last show or the one before, just drop the 2025 contest, you cowards. I'm ready. Let's get into the 2025.
So
let's get some more creative player rookie names that, Chester McConkley or whoever the hell is out there. Let's just throw some of those. It's going to be like NCAA football at Madden, where they just run out of names to generate. It's like just number 85. Like just draft number 85.
Yes. So many good references. So first of all, a shout out our good friends at DraftKings. They sent me a PS5. I've been holding off on. Yeah, exactly. So I bought Madden. So this is the first time I played Madden in a couple of years, and I felt that. I felt a little bit of that, like you said, the random player name over the course of the weekend. Who is also feeling the random player name is, like I said, Shuby is 72 drafts. 72 drafts into 2024 already, which is wildly impressive, and clearly he's in the right place that we're doing this year round. Devin out here, 27. I mean, you got me beat. 27 is good. That's impressive. I have 23, and we'll talk through some of this, but I have 23 underdog drafts done, which I thought was like kind of aggressive. But I wanted to. I wanted aggressive too. I specifically wanted to max the little board, right, which was the underdog $3 tournament. 20, can only draft 20 teams in there, but I wanted to like. No guardrails, no worrying about exposures, no nothing, no like not really. Like my whole plan was I'm not going to think that much about the little board. I'm just going to let's rip these 20, see how they look, see how my exposures look. Because then I actually do want to take the big board a little bit more serious. Like I've kind of just used it as fun spring and late winter, spring, mess around time the last couple of years. I really want to take it a little more serious because I mean there's $200,000 to first place, and I feel like we have a pretty substantial edge in this big board tournament. So I'm going to take it a little more serious, but I wanted to use the little board as like a springboard, no pun intended, to the big board. And then I drafted my first drafters team today, which they launched a really nice early tournament as well. So we're going to be getting into all this different stuff. But I do feel like this, and then I want to talk just super quickly about the Super Bowl. But Jose says this is the best time of year, the best ball. It is funny because, even when we started Spike Week, we never would have said the day after the Super Bowl is the best time of year for best ball, because it was kind of a dead period. And now there are no dead periods in best ball. But I do think, like, if you're watching this show or you're listening to this after the fact, or you just happen to stumble across us, welcome. Of course, if you can hit like and subscribe, that would be phenomenal. We would appreciate it. But if you're like as big of a sicko as we are here, I do think this is, you could argue this is the best time of the year. Like, if you're dedicated, you're putting the time in, maybe you purchased our almanac, you use one of our partner sites, whatever, you're grinding your own rankings. You have such an edge over the casual person who, we talked about this on our first draft stream. Even the people really ingrained in this, like us, are figuring out, like, who are the free agents? Which teams like need a running back? Which teams need a second wide receiver? Who could be franchise tagged? What are the impacts of the new coaches? Who are these rookies? Who is Ladd McConkey? Is that actually a real person, or is that a creative player name from Madden? Because it sure as shit doesn't sound like a real Ladd McConkey. Doesn't sound. Every day I pull up the rookie rankings that I freaking built, and Jerry Rice's son is on there. Marvin Harrison's son is on there. I'm like, is this real? Like, this was like when I was 12, when I came up with fake, names. It was like, I'm just gonna somebody's son. Right? Somebody, Penny Hardaway's son or whatever. It's like, no, they're real players. They're actually entering the NFL. Like, it is that kind of shock at this time of the year. But if you're in tune and you're really locked in, I do think you have a big edge. And so that's what we're here. That's what we're here to do. Hopefully we can give you some of that big edge. But before we dive into some of that, and then of course, the whole goal that we're going to do here is to draft. You are kind of a quasi Chiefs fan. I don't even know what to call you in terms of a Chiefs fan. You draft a lot of Chiefs in best ball. Was that really, did you enjoy the Super Bowl win yesterday, or was it just like just a casual experience? How was the game yesterday for you? And anybody in the chat, if you have strong feelings, please post them too.
I root for greatness most of the time. I actually was thinking about this today, and I root for greatness at this stage in my life. It was much different 10 years ago when I was still like a pretty diehard Patriots fan, and you never lose all of that, right? Like, you never lose the fandom. And I think I've talked about this before. There's still teams that I hate more than the teams that I like. So like, I can never root for the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl, right? I can never root for the Jets to win a Super Bowl, but I can root for greatness and respect greatness. And that's why I like Patrick Mahomes. We're witnessing someone do something special in his sport, whether you like it or not. And I can see both sides of this. I'm still a Celtics fan, right? And I grew up, I hated Kobe, but I always respected. How can you like a Laker? You can't if you're a Celtics fan.
Yeah, it's true.
So I grew up despising Kobe, but there's always a respect there. And now that I'm older, I realize that it was greatness. So I'm privileged to have watched Kobe play, right? I was privileged to be able to watch Jordan play. I, missed some of these other things. Being able to watch the greats play and know that you're watching it, learning that you're in the moment, just understanding you're in the moment of watching Mahomes do something that's special. I still think Brady's the best of all time, but Mahomes has 10 more years.
Yeah.
Like we don't need to have this conversation right now. We can just sit back and enjoy what he's doing as a player. Dude, I know the team wasn't like the worst team he's ever had as an overall team, but look at what he won with yesterday at the wide receiver position. He threw touchdown passes to MVS and Mecole Hardman yesterday.
Mecole Hardman wasn't even on the team, and he caught the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
They had to trade for Mecole Hardman to upgrade Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney. That's the state that this team was in. And yet they still go out there and they get it done. You're witnessing greatness. It was fun to watch him win. That's what I rooted for. It was fun. Here's what I'll say about the Super Bowl. it was fun to go out with an MVS touchdown and not have to do the MVS thing anymore.
100%.
That was it. Yesterday was the last day.
Get his ass off the Chiefs so we never have to talk about him again. And it was awesome. I made money on him.
Same.
I lost money on Christian McCaffrey yesterday in the Super Bowl, and I made money on Marquez Valdes-Scantling. So like that's a win for me. Like that was phenomenal. My little niece became a Chiefs fan because of the whole Taylor Swift thing. She's rocking a Travis Kelce jersey yesterday at the family football. Nice. And like, she doesn't care. She's playing with her toys and stuff during the game, but then she just look up and she go, Travis Kelce, you know, like loving it. It was a ton of fun. I have to share this. I didn't know that this tweet existed. So anybody that has already seen this, I totally apologize. This is gold. So Troy Aikman, obviously former Dallas Cowboys, Hall of Fame quarterback and announcer for Fox, I think, right? At the NFL, posted in 2019. The Athletic had posted that Patrick Mahomes has thrown 36% of Troy Aikman's career touchdowns in only 8% of the games. Obviously, the game has changed, so that's like a lot of quarterbacks are going to do that. So Troy came back with a little dunk, which is fun, which is like kind of funny probably in the moment. In case you missed it, talk to me when he has 33% of my Super Bowl titles. Well, Troy, he's gonna maybe win the most Super Bowls of all time, I think, old Patrick Mahomes. And we won another one and went back to back yesterday.
Well, let's pump the brakes there. It's going to be hard to catch Brady with 7.
I know, but Jesus, man, Mahomes is well on his way. And what I wanted to kind of segue into there is also a little smidge of like fantasy football related, whatever. The Chiefs were such a flawed team this year, but when you have a foundation of Patrick Mahomes and you toss right Chris Jones in there and Travis Kelce in there and Andy Reid in there, right? So the offensive line was good. You have the structure of something that is phenomenal, and that's what they had this year. But they had many flaws. The wide receivers being clearly the most. Right. I mean, Rashee Rice is a good young player, like a very good young player. He's not. This ain't Justin Jefferson. This ain't rookie year Justin Jefferson. This is not one of those kind of, Jamar Chase, whatever, CeeDee Lamb, or it's nothing that special. He's a very good player. But and even Travis Kelce, right? We saw yesterday is not the Travis Kelce of old. It was a great playoff run, which has really put my brain in a pretzel for 2020. I wish he wouldn't have done that. I wish he just would have done the 14 points per game every week, and I'd be like, okay, it's fine. I don't have to draft him in 2024, but we have to talk about him now. But nonetheless, when you have Patrick Mahomes and you kind of have this foundation, it really is super cheesy segue into best ball. Like exactly how we should think about our fantasy football teams is like, dude, you don't have to be perfect everywhere. Quite frankly, the 49ers were much more perfect everywhere across the roster, the franchise, the coaching, the analytics, right? I bet the 49ers. I am that idiot that was following the spreadsheets. Yes, I know. We don't have to get into it. Please, God, I know. I talked about it on the radio for 2 hours. I was on fucking Sirius. I was on Sirius XM telling people to bet the 49ers. There's enough people that know I'm an idiot. Okay. We don't have to
text me next time.
We don't have to rehash it. I did give them the MVS. I did give them the MVS bets. Okay. So not everything was terrible. Also gave them Jerick McKinnon. We gave him some wins. But point being, when you hit on Patrick Mahomes on a real life NFL football team, it's like, I don't mean nothing else matters, but like kind of nothing else matters. You just have to totally not screw everything else up, and you can create a team that can win the Super Bowl two years in a row with a really flawed roster. That's how I feel about this game of best ball, is like people set out to be perfect about everything. People set out to be the 49ers. People set out to build this. Oh my God, when I put this on the spreadsheet, it's fucking perfect. Like it's absolutely perfect. But we know that football, and certainly a season of fantasy football, is not perfect. It's chaos, and it's littered with injuries and things we didn't expect and all that kind of stuff. And so you get to the end of the day, it's like, find the handful of things, 1, 2, 3, 4 things that like you just needed, right? We joke about the guy you need or whatever, but like find Kyron or Puka or whatever, right? And I don't mean find them like become the best player take, bro, but I just mean draft from a strategic perspective in the way that gives you the best chance to find those guys. And once you do, just like try to minimize screwing it up. You know what I mean? Like minimize screwing it up around them. And that's kind of what the Chiefs did. They just said, look, we know. You don't think Andy Reid knows MVS sucks? You don't think Andy Reid knows Justin Watson sucks? It's just like they're going to make less mistakes than Kadarius Toney. They're going to, like, it's just true, right? And that Isaiah Pacheco is not a superstar. Like, he's fine. But they're just like, be in the right place, do the things we need, and let that Hall of Famer that's back there win us the game. Like, because he's going to take us to the promised land. All you guys just need to do your little piece and don't screw it up. And there is like a lesson in that, like in gambling and everything else. But just like when you got that, right? When you hit Kyron, when your strategy leads you to find Kyron more often than the other people do, to find Puka more often, to find, I overuse the Kyron one, people get upset about it, to find Josh Jacobs from a couple of years ago, to find Cooper Kupp from a couple of years ago. When your process is good to let you land on those players, now, like, don't draft 4 fucking tight ends and fuck it up when you do that, right? Don't draft, when you drafted Lamar Jackson, don't draft 3 quarterbacks now. When you did that, like, because you did what you needed to do, but you screwed it up thereafter, right? And I think a lot of NFL teams do that, and I think a lot of fantasy football drafters do that as well. And so I found myself, I'm always a weirdo drawing fantasy things from real life stuff, but it just kind of struck me that it was just like, we know this, like we have Patrick Mahomes and like nothing else matters. But today I just found that where I was like, I can't believe they won the last 3 games. Nonetheless, not even just yesterday. I can't believe they won those games, but you're just like, they got that dude. They got that one dude, and like that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think a good way to point this direction that you're going with like the 49ers especially, how like they were built to be like the quote unquote perfect team type of deal, is
they are. That roster's insane.
Yes,
insane.
But like from a best ball perspective, at the end of the season, I think most of us do this. Maybe not everybody, but I think the majority of us, we look through and we kind of star a couple teams that were like, these teams are perfect. These are the teams I want to watch this year. And what happens by playoff time, right? Those teams didn't make it through. And then what are you doing? Now you're scrambling to the 26, 27, 28 teams that made it through. And you're like, of these 28 teams, this is the team. This is the team. And then that team doesn't make it through round 1. And you're just like, so to your point, it's like, yes, you have teams that look like they are the end all be all. They should crush, right? And then the game has to be played. And that's the same with the Chiefs. It's like, yeah, you can build these rosters and everything. You still got to play the game. You still had to play the Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid, with Travis Kelce, with Patrick Mahomes, with a good defense. And you were inferior in a lot of respects in that game. It was a close game, but that's just like best ball, where you're sitting there trying to build these perfect teams, and you shouldn't not be trying to build a perfect team. That's not what we're saying. Right. You should be trying to build perfectly to your structure, though. You should, because you're not going to get the perfect team. You can't draft Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey. You can't have all these guys. It's not what it is. So what is the structure? And we start seeing it envelop in our chat here. And there's really good comments. And there's one that I want to bring up real quick from Jonathan Coe. And I think this is actually a trap we don't want to fall into. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I think the sentiment is relatively okay. But he says to spend less draft capital at quarterback and reap the flex benefits. That's his 2024 motto. Mm-hmm. I understand that sentiment, but what we're not taking into account when we just say that, and he's writing in a comment thing, right? So you can't get out all your thoughts, but the drafts are different every year. So spend less draft capital on what? And we've already seen it this year with the quarterback position, where the top tier is coming down a little bit, but the other tier is coming up. So they're starting to meet between that 3rd and 9th or 3rd and 8th round range, where you're seeing a lot of the quarterbacks that are viable go. So you have to understand that the drafts are different every year. We've talked about this, right? Like, yes, I understand wanting to get a better flex position. If that means that you want to draft the 6th, 7th, 8th round quarterbacks, that's fine. But if you're pushing all the way to the end to draft the Desmond Ritters and stuff, you got lucky with Brock Purdy last year, and you can still find that if you're lucky. I don't know if we're going to have that same thing this year.
I
just
think
based on the way it's going.
Yeah, I think what I would add to kind of where Jonathan is coming from is not so much spend less, but be willing to spend less total draft roster spots, not draft capital, roster spots. It's like, dude, if you have, I'm just going to throw some names out there probably because I've drafted them, I guess. If you have Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones as your 2 quarterbacks this year, like, it's fine. That's fine. Like that's like, but people will be like, oh man, I took Kyler in the 9th or whatever. Other teams got Jalen Hurts. Do I need to toss a 3rd one on there? And it's like, what in the hell is Derek Carr doing to help Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones get across the finish line? Not like absolutely nothing. Like that's not helping you win a best ball tournament. It's actually a little bit of how I feel. Ben mentions the onesie positions. We'll get into a lot of this. We don't need to dive into full strategy. We got a few months, I think, a few months here,
at least
before
30.
Before the season starts. Certainly before Rob's 2025 rookies and sophomores tournaments kick off. But Ben prefers 3 tight end builds, and I much prefer 2 because of exactly that. Some of the guys in the chat saying, I want to win the flex, and like kind of that Mahomes argument was specifically that for me, is like the greatest impacts that you can have in in fantasy football period, pick best ball, dynasty, whatever, all of that stuff is if you score the most points in whatever format of this game that you're playing in the flex, you're in really, really good shape, really good shape, because that is the 6th spot that you had to get to. That is the 6th best player that you had to get to and outscore people with their 6th best player, right? 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and then a flex. So if you win that one, I know people will always use the argument, well, technically the tight end can score there. Yeah, if the tight end is the highest scoring flex spot, A, it's a really, really unique week. It doesn't happen very often. And B, something probably went wrong. Like something probably went wrong for your roster, right? If you're using 12 points from Cole Turner in the flex, which is where I was going to get to with the last thing is literally the reason why I had my best team this year, I would argue, was because of how I attacked the onesie positions on underdog, especially. So I did take an elite quarterback with Lamar Jackson, and I only took 2 tight ends. But my first tight end was Sam Laporta. Now you might say, well, Sam Laporta, he's a stud. Yeah, he was like a 14th round pick. He was like my only 2 tight ends were like a 14th round pick and last round Cole Turner, who could not have done less basically for me. He did nothing. My second quarterback was Kenny Pickett, who also did nothing for me. Like, you couldn't have a more useless second quarterback and second tight end than I selected, and had an absolutely monster all-star squad. You know why? Because I won the flex constantly, because I had 7 running backs and 7 wide receivers, and they were all pretty good, relatively speaking, all pretty good. All ended up getting lucky and staying healthy. And Kyron was on that team, right? And Amon-Ra was on that team, and Zay Flowers was on that team. So you get a bunch of hits, and like that's the don't screw it up. And so that's why, like, if I had taken a 3rd quarterback, if I had taken another useless ass tight end that was never really adding anything more than Laporta added, like even in the week 17 final, I'll take Laporta's 12 points and move on. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Win it elsewhere, right? I'm going to win it elsewhere. And that's kind of my big lesson heading into this year is like, when you, like you said, I'm trying to find the perfect team. Aren't we all? I would love to draft the perfect team, but I want to go in knowing that it's probably not going to be perfect, but I'm trying to hit on something. Just like I want to hit on something. So now once I know that, right? I'm drafting like I'm right, but I'm drafting like I'm right about something. Now, how do I win? It's probably through winning through the flex and winning through more running backs and more wide receivers. And that's a big thing that I'm going to be trying to use in 2024. So should we put it to use? Go ahead.
Yeah, let's jump in. But to your point, the winning the flex, there's a few different ways you can do it, right? It's not a set in stone way to win in the flex. And you can draft the 2 QBs, you can draft late. If you're adding more of high upside plays, that's more like in later rounds, instead of adding that third quarterback or that third tight end, you're giving yourself more flexibility to hit that, right? So like
I like it.
It's just, how do you want to go for it? Do you want to try to inundate your flex by, you could almost say that, trying to push both onesie positions now you're trying to thread the needle from drafting the first 6 to 7 rounds perfectly, right? Through the running back and wide receiver position, and trying to make up for it on the other side. So like you can see it both ways on it. It's, you got to give something up in drafts, and it's how do you give up and how can you get that what you gave up back at the end?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Like, so it's more about, and it just comes down to the structure, right? It just, that's what it is. It's all about the structure. So what do we get? The 9th spot here today?
Ninth spot. I was updating my draft hacker settings, and I realized we'll get this fixed. I promise. I just updated it, but it's taking a second to kick in, so you can't probably see very well my percentages. But when it's relevant, we will get it on here.
Yeah, it's early. Not all of us have drafted 50 teams, you psychos.
Yeah, god damn, Shuby. Pace yourself a little bit. We do have like 7 more months, 7 more mates. Shuby's getting closer to 100 already. What have you been doing at the back of the first round? Because you know, I've been getting more into just taking one of the elite wide receivers. Like even honestly, well, I don't want to get into the CMC debate today, but we'll get into it at a later time. But Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, Tyreek, I've been trying to get about as much of them as I can, which sometimes is going to come at the detriment of CMC, but those guys will all be gone. And then you get into Amon-Ra, Bijan, Puka, Gibbs, etc. What's been your kind of preference there, you know, at the end of the first?
It really, it's so different depending on where you're drafting from. I don't mind going with the Hero RB approach from the back end, because you do have Bijan fall, Jahmyr Gibbs is back there as well, and then you can still pair them with any of the wide receivers. I love Amon-Ra, I love Puka, AJ Brown's great, Garrett Wilson, give me all those. And if Gibbs is gone and I'm in the 12th spot, I'm still getting 2 of those wide receivers. So it's like all gravy from that back end. The front end is where it's going to be interesting for me, because I might we're going to figure it out at some point, and we're just spitballing here, but I just might be super overweight Jefferson and Chase and underweight Lamb and Hill.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. Let's get through the 8th pick, because apparently that Super Bowl just fucked my head up real bad, because like I said, I was thinking all about this, like Patrick Mahomes, you know, Chiefs analogy and how that applies to best ball. But then I've also been thinking about what I want to do at the front end of the first round. And because I haven't updated. So I posted the rankings for anybody that has the almanac, you know, the rankings are out there, but I haven't made any updates yet. I have some updates. Okay. So is this Bijan? Is this Puka for you? What are you, you know, we can definitely do hero running back, because I obviously like Bijan, Gibbs, etc. But you know me.
I'd probably grab a wide receiver here. I'd either grab Puka or AJ Brown here.
Let's take Puka.
I think we're more likely to get one of the RBs to come back to us.
So that was going to be my counter, is I have never seen Garrett Wilson. So Garrett Wilson is a teardrop for me. Like, I like Nico, I like DJ Moore, whatever. But after Garrett Wilson is a pretty big teardrop for me. But sometimes you will see, if this will update, it's trying to update. You will see JT or Kyron like fall sometimes in room, specifically JT. But And I would be comfortable with those guys. And if they don't, so what, right? We take DJ Moore or Marvin Harrison or Rashi or something like that. And I think that that's fine. But if you're going to try to play that game, you got to take the wide receiver, I think.
Yeah, I see that you've drafted some Nico. Are you not getting sticker shock on Nico and thinking through the
17%.
Tank Dell thing? And
I am very much getting sticker shock on Nico, but I'm getting sticker shock on all these ass clowns that are in the second round here. Nico, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison hasn't stepped foot on an NFL football field, and he's going in the second. Rashi is great, but he doesn't catch a pass further than 4 yards down the field for the Chiefs. Like Debo, I love Debo as a real life football player. What has Debo done in fantasy to deserve, a mid-second round price tag? Diggs, the second round is tough. The first round's really easy to me. But the second round is really, really tough. Really tough. I'm not sure that there's really a player here that once we get past JT, that I think you're like, oh yeah, easy slam dunk second round pick. I think that they're all kind of lumped there because we don't know what to do after JT.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't remember it being like this last year. The second round felt.
Two
second
years
round
ago,
all busted, but it felt good.
But 2 years ago, AJ Brown was in the second round and Tyreek Hill was in the second round. It was so easy. And now it's but when that happens, I tend to default to so I would take JT. Here, and so that worked out. That's why we push it. I really like JT. I have JT at the end of the first. We don't need to get into all that, but I understand why people are
not worried about Zach Moss next year.
Yeah, definitely not worried about Zach Moss. And people are worried about Anthony Richardson, with the amount of catches. Those are things I'm going to say a million times over the course of the next, 6-7 months, where I'm just like, I understand why people are worried about those kinds of things. But I'm not going to waste my time worrying whether he gets 50 targets or 42 targets. It's just not worth my time. He's really good. He's going to get the work. The Colts offense is at worst going to be fine because we saw that they were fine even when Anthony Richardson got hurt. At best, Anthony Richardson makes them better and they score a bunch of points. He and Jonathan Taylor we know is awesome. And I'm just going to be like, why am I going to split hairs on these little things that I can't predict? I've done that for years and screwed myself up doing that. Just when it's that straightforward, I'm like, he's good. The offense is going to be good. I'm not going to worry about those little nuances. We got enough shit to worry about. We have enough shit to worry about in these drafts about do we even know if this guy's good? Right? We'll get to this. Is Jackson Smith-Njigba good? He wasn't good as a rookie. Are we going to buy back in? Because I want to buy the Seahawks, but he's a piece of is Ken Walker worth his price? Not really, but I want to buy the Seahawks, right? Is Geno Smith even going to be the quarterback all year next year? I don't know. Those are hard questions. I don't want to dive into hard questions about Jonathan fucking Taylor. He's just good. Let's just not overthink that one.
Can we pull Mac Nova's comment real quick? Because this is the epitome of what our brains do in February for best ball. And he writes, last year, the second round felt good, but mostly busted. Now it doesn't feel good. So maybe it's better ? And yeah, this is what my brain does the entire time I'm drafting these drafts. I'm just thinking through it like that in February, but these are our calluses. We talk about this every year too. This is where we build up and build through. And it's just we're having those thoughts in February. Guess what? A lot of our opponents are going to be having those thoughts in August, and we're already the hardened veterans, man. We're coming back from the battlefield. We've done this 137,000 times now. If my name's Shuby, I've already maxed every contest. Get out of here, you peasants.
Shuby's in so much credit card debt by the time BBM drops. Can't even imagine. But seriously, when Best Ball Mania and the DraftKings tournaments and the main drafters tournament and everything drop, think about how much quicker you'll be able to react by just having done. You don't even have to do a bunch of these. You just do some of these, and you're just wait, now, because things are going to change, right? Rookies are going to land spots, people going to move up, down, free agency, whatever, and it's going to be second nature, just like it is for us, mid to late summer, where you're just like, I don't even think twice. I know I can recite ADP. Like you want to know where, Equinemius St. Brown goes in ADP? Yeah, like 212 or whatever, and it's like, it just becomes second nature. Damn it. I did want Metcalf there. What do you think here? I got a couple of guys I generally take, as you could probably see.
Well, we can see the big neighbors a lot here. I
love neighbors.
Let's take Waddle. You have no Waddle.
Yep. Because I take neighbors.
Yeah.
I have no Waddle because I take neighbors every time.
Let's grab Waddle. I think third round is good for Waddle. I think this is like right where Waddle should be.
Yeah.
I don't think he should go up too much higher than this, but I think he might.
This is good. I need to use this with the wife. Jonathan, for the audio listeners, Jonathan says, leveraged portfolio sounds better than credit card debt. That is true. Let me test that out with the old wife when we get to May. Yeah. Even if this turns into something, you're not going to see it for 8 months. You're not going to see it for 8 months, and we're going to pay interest on it. But it's just a nice leveraged portfolio, so it's fine.
Yeah. It's in a bank somewhere. Yeah. We don't have access to it. It's a CD. Have you heard of CDs? It's a CD lamb.
Josh Norris is going to the Super Bowl on our dime, hanging out with NFL players.
He's got a money gun. Some of that money is ours.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Oh, gosh.
All right. So we got Puka, Jonathan Taylor, and Jalen Waddle right now coming around, ending the third round. And I have some thoughts where I'd like to go in 5 picks, but we dare not say it as we have snipers in the midst among us. And this is where it starts to always get interesting every year. This like mid 4th to 5th round is where it gets a little gross, but there's always like some gems. And I actually think this is the part of the draft every year that I get too locked on some guys.
Yeah.
And I can already see it happening. If this is like the crop of people that's going to stay, Drake London goes, that sucks. Cause that was the guy I was looking at.
I know.
So
I can't help but do the Falcons thing again with Arthur Smith gone. You're just like, this is it. Like this is what we've been dreaming of for 3 years.
It's 2027. We're still drafting the Falcons.
All right. So Mahomes and Lamar still on the board. Keenan Allen, who I'm about to move down in the rankings, by the way. So I would prefer not to take him. I already have too much. Kupp, Kelsey.
I'm in on one of the QBs.
Okay. I mean, it's Lamar for me. I'm just saying.
And let's do Lamar. I'm fine doing Lamar here. I think we have more. The only reason why I'd like taking Mahomes right now, other than I always like taking Mahomes, is
the only reason you like taking Mahomes.
Well, because even if you don't have Kelsey or Rashee Rice, I feel like you can take Mahomes and feel very free about it because you don't have to try to stack him, because who are you going to stack him with? Because you don't know who's going to be there.
No, you just rip a bunch of rookies, and I already rip a bunch of rookies and just pray they draft Troy Franklin or something like that.
Right, and that's what we want to do.
Holy shit, yeah. Like they get Troy Franklin or God forbid one of our late round guys that we really like. I mean, wow, that's the absolute dream.
So that's what I'm doing. Maybe mix some T. Higgins in here or there if they're gonna find a way to get him. They cut MVS. They save $8 million. Mahomes is going to restructure his deal supposedly. So
he's already on a team-friendly deal. He's not even getting paid that much, and he's the best quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he's doing the Brady thing. Like that was like his quote.
It's genius.
He still makes the money. He's making, how much money is he making in endorsements, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a billion. He's going to be a billionaire. So, like, who gives a shit whether you're a billionaire or whether you're worth $1 billion or $2 billion? You have so much money you can't spend it anyway. And why wouldn't you rather enjoy it during your playing tenure, right? Than have some extra money during that time that you're never going to see, and you're actually going to win. Right?
Well, and also
Kirk Cousins is never going to win. Yeah, Kirk Cousins is never going to win.
Right.
And so Kirk Cousins is never going to be great, considered great. He's never going to enjoy the fruits of his labor, and he works hard. And Kirk Cousins seems like a great dude, but Kirk Cousins is making more money than Patrick Mahomes. He's never going to win in the NFL. But Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, when they're getting less money than the other quarterbacks, they're always going to win because they're already the best, and now the team's instantly better than every other team paying quarterbacks.
And the more money and the more they win right now, the more money they make in the future, and they know that, so they can do it. Where Kirk Cousins has to make all his money right now, like just has to. So
yep.
Yeah. So we are coming back up on the clock here. We see CJ Stroud go in the 5th round. Kind of the thing we've been talking about with the quarterback. It's just kind of mushing together between these rounds.
It's a little rich on Stroud, though. We'll talk more about that over the next
I don't
while.
disagree.
It's a little rich. I like him.
I like all the Houston players. I think a lot of the Houston players are over.
The price is rough, yo. It's one of those where it's like, it reminds me of the Chargers a couple of years ago when Herbert was like the QB2 overall, and Keenan and Mike Williams both went at the 2-3 turn, and Eckler was a 1st-round pick. Yeah. It was like, yeah, I like the Chargers too. We all do, but you got to draft them all in the first 4 rounds. Like if you want to get all the Chargers, and like that's the problem. Andrews to close Lamar. I would like to take Andrews personally.
It just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Especially because, not just because of the stack and everything, I don't see how Andrews doesn't move up this board throughout the summer.
I agree.
Right. I think it's just gonna.
It was just an injury.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's still awesome. The Ravens are going to be awesome. He's young. He hasn't shown any signs of declining. I know people are going to say likely. Likely being good is a boost to the Ravens offense. They're not taking Mark Andrews off the field because Isaiah Likely is good. They might put them both on the field and take off Nelson Aguilar or Rashad Bateman. That's good. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing for Mark Andrews. So I'm going to be buying him. I like all the to kind of what you talked about with the elite quarterbacks, the elite tight ends, even more so for me in these drafts. I'm just hammering, dude. Andrews, McBride, Laporta, Kelsey, Njoku, Bowers, Pitts, all of them like that. I'm just focusing there. I'm going to let everyone else figure out Davis Allen versus Donald Parham versus what. Like, I'm going to let you guys figure that out. I'm going to take these really, really good tight ends because I know that there's going to be hits at the other positions later. Like, I know I'm going to whiff on some of them too, but I'm just taking the stud tight ends personally.
Yeah. I mean, another example of the draft just drastically being different than last year.
Yes.
The tight end position
way different.
Way, way different. I wouldn't mind JSN here. I know you like him.
I'm okay. Yeah. I have 13% JSN. I'm okay with Christian Kirk. I'm okay with Tajay.
I don't mind missing Aaron Jones in here either.
Okay. Let's hear we can take him because I've taken him, 4%. So once or twice I've taken Aaron Jones. He is not my archetype of preference as an older running back, but also I think we saw pretty clearly he's a lot better than AJ Dillon. I think AJ Dillon is very bad and Aaron Jones is good for sure. Aaron Jones was still good last year, catches passes, all that kind of stuff. And he's on the offense, one of the offenses that I really want. I want to be in on the Packers offense. It's just very hard to figure out how to do it because of their weird wide receiver and tight end. We really don't know what to do. So Aaron Jones is a pathway, but it's weird, right? Because he's, like a very old running back.
29. Yeah, he's 29. He'll be 30 in December. And it goes against what I want with the running back position for all those reasons. But he feels like the outlier because of everything you brought up about wanting that Green Bay exposure. If I can get a Green Bay player on most teams, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they cannot do the AJ Dillon thing again. We tried it again last year. I know Aaron Jones is hurt frequently.
Yeah, thanks for that, by the way. I remember a draft where you convinced me I need to up my AJ Dillon exposure. The thesis
was right. The thesis we just thought that. We just didn't realize.
The thesis was this asshole convinced me to draft some Rashad Penny, so I'm going to get him to draft some AJ Dillon, and we can all just fucking lose money together.
We can all just watch the slow bad running
Slow,
backs not do
shitty
anything.
running back.
We can all just watch them stand on the sideline with their helmets, just not doing anything.
Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they're gonna ride Aaron Jones for another year. I don't
so.
think that's a position they want to focus on building around Love. They think they just want to roll with Jones and build the rest of the team up.
I think it makes sense. They can find the next guy after him this year or next offseason. Yeah. But I think it makes too much sense too, because everybody else is free. It's not like you're going to cut him. Jordan Love isn't making any money. None of their wide receivers are making any money. Go make the defense better and then load Aaron Jones up for one more year and then kick him to the curb and, backfill with cheap running backs because you're going to have to pay Jordan Love. You're going to have to pay, not yet Christian Watson and Jaden Reed and stuff. Right. But you get it. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I think I've been thinking about moving Aaron Jones up a little bit because I'm probably a little too low on him because it's total bias. I have a very big bias against his archetype of player in general, not even just the age. He's never really a workhorse, blah, 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 blah. But he's just good. He's on an offense I want to buy. And he's in a weird spot in the draft. Like, what are we going to do? Like, is JSN better? Is Christian Kirk better? Derrick Henry's definitely not better. Like, there's not a lot there that you can say, oh, it's definitively better than Aaron Jones.
We were already behind at wide receiver, right? Like at that point, we were already behind because we went QB, running back, tight end. So I think we can attack wide receiver with volume, especially with 20 picks in this draft.
At rookie, we're going to go rookie wide receiver hunting in the last 6-7 rounds like crazy on this team.
Yeah, we are back on the clock.
I say that, and Jesus.
Do we want to make another bet on Green Bay here with either Watson?
I think Watson. I think Watson is fine on this team.
I think Watson is perfect on this team, actually. If we're being legit, because we're looking for guys to hit those high number marks occasionally.
Yep.
And Christian Watson can give us 5 or 6 of those weeks. We have, who did we have at wide receiver already that we drafted earlier?
Puka and Jalen Waddle.
So Puka and Waddle Puka specifically should hit our lineup so many times.
Most of the time. Yeah.
God, I hope so. We drafted him in the first round. So I think Watson is the perfect archetype to draft here, a little more so than Dobbs. But you never know with the Green Bay wide receivers because they are just so.
But I do think it's been lost a little bit, and not lost because he's still going in the 7th round. So we haven't gotten a huge discount on Christian Watson. But I do think just in the discourse that I have kind of heard is like he has been a little bit cast aside. Everybody's really excited for Jaden Reed. Romeo Doubs was the freaking playoff hero, just balling out every week. Dontavian Wicks looks good, right? Bo Melton gets drafted in these drafts. Like everybody has gotten on board with all of the other Packers, whereas Christian Watson, it was like, you had like 2 good games, buddy, but my God, are you ever going to stay healthy? It's much more negative sentiment around him.
Yeah.
But in reality, before he got hurt that last time, which really kind of catapulted everybody else, he had kind of become the lead dog in that whole group. Everybody else was still healthy, and he was the one getting 8-9 targets and he was the highest projected wide receiver on a weekly basis on this team. Will that be the case next? I don't know, because he's lost a lot of time and those other guys have made up that ground. But I do think his talent and his upside is still very, 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 very clear. Jesus Christ. We got in a tough room here. We might have to go running back.
I'm not anti-Javonte.
Unless, can I, where is
Jameson or Troy Franklin?
I know it's early, but this is a room that
it's not coming back to us probably.
I don't know that in 14 picks, he's going to come back to us. He also is just a player that I posted a tweet thread about him specifically earlier, but I have him ranked above 89 actually. So he's probably I don't draft off of rankings because I prefer to try to play the ADP game, but he's probably my best player available here, I would guess. Just quickly scrolling the list. Yeah. Him and JMO probably. are my best players available here? And so if he's not going to come back and we need wide receiver juice, especially, I think we just take it.
Yeah. Can we look at the board real quick? Because I just want to
Yes.
finish making this point where if you look at the 5th and 6th round, right? Scroll up a little bit.
Yep.
So 5th, 6th, 7th round, we saw Stroud, Richardson, Burrow, Prescott, Fields, Jordan Love go. And I think I'm just pointing that out to this is that quarterback crunch that I was talking about earlier, where some of the top guys came down a few rounds, but these are guys. Some of these guys were going 8th, 9th round last year or further, like their counterparts for the 2023 season. You see Purdy, Herbert go. There's so many off the board right now, and that's why I think you just need to pay attention to what you're doing with that position as a whole, right? Because that crunch is in, and how are you going to attack that crunch? It almost feels like you're going to get locked out when you used to not ever get locked out for the most part on underdog.
Yeah.
You could on DraftKings, but you could.
Right.
Yeah.
I like air quotes like Daniel Jones and Geno Smith. And I don't hate Bo Nix and guys like that back there, but that's like I'm being nice when I say right? I don't want to make them a foundation on my portfolio. Once I get past Jaden Daniels in these drafts, which he'll be off the board pretty soon here, actually, I do feel like I've sort of gotten locked out of quarterbacks. Sort of. I'm comfortable to push things a little bit more than the average person is. But to your point, there's more quarterbacks going, specifically in the big board. I think we don't need to get into all that right now because we're only drafting the big board for the next 3 months or whatever. But when we get to BBM season and things flesh themselves out, right, there's guys, right? So we just took Troy Franklin. If Troy Franklin lands on the Chiefs, I hate to break it to you, you ain't getting him in round 8 or 9. Like, he's not going to be outside the top 100, right? Like, it's not going to happen. Those guys are going, that is going to exist. Running backs are going to land in certain spots, right? Whether it's free agents or rookies or running backs are not going to land, and then other guys are going to move up. And so I think people are defaulting to quarterbacks a little bit more in that weird pocket, round 5, 6, 5 through 9, 10 or whatever, because we don't have a lot of certainty around the other positions. But that's the tournament we're drafting in right now. So we have to adapt to that. And then once we get to May, we can figure out if we need to pivot in BBM.
Yeah. And I think it is all about the portfolio and making sure you're not sitting on 30, 35% of fucking Kenny Pickett because you were like on this you had a hard on for not drafting a quarterback until the 10th round on. And now you're just sitting on 30% of the same 4 quarterbacks that might not finish the year, right? Or ever get a start. Also a possibility.
I'm curious what you think about this pocket of the draft. I have some guys I prefer, as you can, of course, see on your screen. But anybody
I like Downs. He's a guy that I've been trying to grab a bit of. I think he's right around where he's supposed to be. I don't mind Cortland Sutton here and there. Let's
do Downs. I know we just only had a couple seconds, so I just wanted to.
Well,
because you like him and I haven't taken him a ton, but I don't. It's not like there's no real honest reason to that because I kind of like him.
Well, we've already made the Colts bet too. We have Jonathan Taylor, so adding Downs isn't bad. I mean, the Cortland Sutton thing is there's a lot going on there with that Denver situation, but
what are you doing with Denver?
He looked good last year, man.
They're all pretty cheap. Cortland Sutton was pretty good last year. Javonte was good 2 and 3 years ago, but the whole situation is just so bizarre. I haven't dipped my toes in a lot.
Javonte is a guy that I'm grabbing a little bit over average on. I think I want at least like 12 to 14% of him right now, maybe 16% in this particular tournament. And I'm projecting here, but I think if he stays around where he's going, I'm going to want to get overweight on him in Best Ball Mania and the other big tournaments when they launch, because I just have a feeling he's going to look good in the preseason. And I think he has the chance to be one of the biggest risers in terms of these first 10 rounds. We seem to have forgotten that this injury that he has is a 2-year injury usually. And that second year back is when they look really good. He's still young. He still played last year and he was okay. He wasn't great, but he was okay. He's going to have his confidence back next year. He's going to have some more explosiveness back next year. I think Javonte is a guy that I'm focusing on for the next few months. And then when he rises, I can just be done with him.
Yeah, because they're not going to bring anybody in. They got McLaughlin.
Right.
P. Ryan probably be gone, but I can't say for sure. As we come back on the clock, another little awkward zone. Hollywood Brown, who I have really struggled what to do with here. Ironically, I've taken him every time. My only other Hollywood Brown team is with Lamar, so that's kind of I only have 4%, but it's with Lamar. I really like Shakir and somebody else that I wanted one take. So it looks like we're taking Shakir. I filibustered us.
That's fine.
But
they got to take Shakir. I mean, like Shakir's got to do something because they can't bring anybody in.
They got no. So for anybody that doesn't know, again, within the almanac, which is in the description, our boy B. Kurt broke down all the kind of off-season activity that you need to know, of which some was, like cap situations that teams are in. And like, I don't think it can be understated, the teams that are in cap hell, what that means and what that means for the holdovers relative to specifically relative to like Khalil Shakir versus, so like I draft a lot of the Bengals ancillary wide receivers, our boy Yoshi, and I even draft Charlie Jones, who's kind of they drafted both of those guys this past year. I believe they drafted him because they knew, Boyd was for sure gone and T might be gone. But so I draft those guys a lot, but they got some cap space. They can easily bring T back if they want to. It's not a situation where it's like, oh boy, they are in cap hell, like the Saints or the Chargers or the Bills. The Bills are very much in cap. Like Gabe ain't coming back unless it's on a really cheap team friendly deal because they can't afford to spend at that wide receiver position. So what does that mean? Well, Khalil Shakir, buddy, come on down. Price is right time. Come on down because you got to play in 2024. We don't really have any other alternatives. He was probably their second best wide receiver by the end of last year anyway. Yeah. And so he was probably going to play regardless. But now, given their cap situation, he really just has to play. And so I think he's a little undervalued too. And I think he makes a really good fit on this team where, like, we shot the moon a little bit with some of these other roster spots. He's not really ever going to be, a mega superstar, but he can be very valuable on best ball teams.
Yeah. And for everything you just said, it's also why I like Kincaid around where he's going too. I mean, I like a lot of those tight ends. We brought that up earlier, but I have been eyeballing Kincaid quite a bit there as well.
I like him. Not the unfortunate thing for him is part of their cap hell is the contract they signed Dawson Knox to. So Knox is not going anywhere. It's a laughable actual what Dawson Knox is making this year, and basically the fact that they can't. I mean, technically you can cut anyone, but it wouldn't make any sense for them to cut him, given his contract, is bad. And that's the thing that sucks for Kincaid. But if Kincaid is great, there's lots of target opportunities. So he just needs to be good, and he'll be totally fine for fantasy.
Yeah, and they might run some different. They might run out of maybe personnel quite a bit more.
And even if they don't, maybe let's not play Dawson fucking Knox all the time and play our better players. That seems like a decent idea.
I mean, to each their own, I guess.
All right. Okay, I got a pitch. I want to make it for Blake Corum when we get on the clock here. And I'm saying it early because if we get sniped on him, I won't be that upset because I'm convincing myself into this bullshit narrative. And the only reason why I have 17% Blake Corum is because I was actually talking to our good friend Pat Crane. I'm going to filibuster us again. Part of why I take a lot of rookie running backs is because I want to get the Chargers running back. Like if you could tell me you can draft like 4 guys in order to find the next Chargers running back, I think I would do that on every single team. For those of you that don't know, the former Michigan head coach, Mr. Harbaugh, is now coaching the Chargers. If you also don't know, they hired Greg Roman to be their offensive coordinator, the former offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, the run heaviest team in the history of the modern NFL that made J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and all these losers. Devonta Freeman, who has not been heard of since then, was an efficient running back and scoring fantasy points for the Baltimore Ravens. Now Harbaugh is going to kind of install his version of that offense with Greg Roman at the helm. And Austin Eckler is going to be gone. It ain't going to be Josh Kelly or Isaiah Spiller. It's going to be someone new that is the Chargers running back. And of course, Blake Corum, where does he come from? National champion Michigan Wolverines for many years with Harbaugh and brought him the national championship. Just makes like too much sense that Corum ends up that running back. And I'm like, God damn it. Like I don't really love Blake Corum as a football player, but if I don't honestly care if he's the Chargers running back. I don't really care about what my take is. And so I'm forcing myself to take some Corum with the expectation that they take him in the 2nd round or 3rd round.
Ben says, I really think if Harbaugh was to take Corum with the 2nd, the Chargers organization would burn to the ground. And I would just like to say, I think the Chargers organization is already burned to the ground.
Harbaugh got hired to rebuild the fucking thing because Staley burnt it to the ground.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen, though. I'm dreading it because I want him to take somebody much more fun. And I don't mean that. Corum's fine. He's fine. But
0% Gabe Davis for Eric Bynfor.
What a world.
What a world this is.
We're not fucking taking him. Don't
what
even
a
ask.
world. Where do you think he goes? Do you have any idea?
Oh, damn it. I wanted to take Shuby.
We know.
I'm going to toss Trey Benson in there. If you want to take a share of Gabe, I don't have any. He's a worthwhile guy to take on here if he lands in Dallas or something like that. That would be pretty sweet. I prefer a rookie running back.
Yeah, take the rookie running back. Let's fine.
Take Benson. That's like a Corum hedge. What if they take Benson instead?
Do you have any interest in, and I'm bringing him up because of the fact I think his price is only going to rise when we're taking these quarterbacks that we've already taken. Are you looking at Kirk Cousins at all, knowing that he's moving? He's not going to go down.
No. Well,
where does he?
It's a great question.
We see this every year.
Yeah, but I'm not taking him. I just would rather take a shot on, and I struggle. So to answer your question with another long-winded, as I usually do, question. Bernie put together an expert survey. We call it a sicko survey for our almanac. And one of the specific questions that he asked about was, what are you doing with Kirk Cousins with the injury? And I basically said, I'm avoiding him right now because of how I'm approaching the quarterback position with a lot of these younger guys. And if I'm going to kind of punt it off with an uncertain as he goes there. But I am looking to like Geno, Daniel Jones, a Bo Nix back there, something like that. I would rather look to those guys than a little bit of an older pocket passer off of a very, very serious injury. It's like, if he beats me, man. Like, this guy was struggling to beat us at similar prices to this when we knew he was the Viking starter, not off a very serious injury. Now he's going to be off that injury. Like, I just feel like I would rather invest because we can adjust in 3 months, right? Like, they say he's fine. He's back with the Vikings. Be like, oh, okay, now maybe I do want to take him. And that's a little bit of like kind of a loser mentality waiting for it. But I feel like the risk outweighs the reward for him, as opposed to like some other situations where I think the reward is much higher than the risk.
That's fair. I was just curious about it.
Yeah.
Afterschneid is asking us if we are coming around to the Titans yet.
Buddy, Tajay is one of my highest owned running backs. And I got some Levis. Let's check out my Levis exposure. I don't even know what it is, but I'm afraid. I'm kind of embarrassed already. Look at that. I draft Titans. I mean, I don't draft any of those loser wide receivers that they have, but I got 22% Will Levis and like 25% Tyjae Spears.
I mean, I like Tyjae.
I'm with it.
Maybe they'll come around to the rest of the Titans at some point. But today ain't that day. Not February 12th, 2024. We ain't on the Titans yet.
We got plenty of times to convince ourselves to take these shitty players. Let's not. Yeah, you're getting shit on because the Titans suck. We're only taking them because we got Rob just outlined. Oh, you don't want to end up with 25% of that shitty late round quarterback. That's what just happened to me with Will Levis.
We're proving points here today on
Yeah,
Let's Make Week Football Show.
Exactly. We should talk about what we want to do with quarterback and tight end. We're at a spots where I like a couple tight ends, like being a relative word.
We love Darren Waller right now,
yeah.
right? Love. Although this guy already has 4 tight ends.
4 tight ends. Yeah.
No, you want Mayer here. I know.
I would love Mayer here.
I know you want Mayer here. Yeah, I'm fine with Mayer here. We're gonna have to look at this team. 4 tight ends, and I think he had 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, 3 quarterbacks, 4 tight ends. Hey, he got the red badge and everything. What is his name? Chuck Amazing.
Chuck Amazing.
Well, agree to disagree, Chuck. Yeah, so this is where, but this is what. Why do you have 22% Will Levis? Someone might ask you, like, "Oh, you must love Will Levis." It's like, no, this is what happens. Like, I took Jonathan Taylor and I took Aaron Jones, so it's like I got to hammer some wide receivers, and the next thing you know, like I can't take Kyler or Jaden Daniels or whatever. So you wait on your second quarterback, and guess who's there in the 17th round every time? Just Will Levis.
Yeah, Will Levis. Will Levis or Bryce Young?
Yeah, and I'm not taking the midget. I'm telling you, at least Will Levis makes me like feel like when he walks out onto the field, I'm like, all right, this dude can score some fantasy points. Like it may not be pretty.
Did it at least once.
Yeah, it may not be pretty, but at least he can score some fantasy points. Bryce Young walks out there, and I'm like, who let the kid out onto the field? Like, whose child is throwing the football around on the sideline? So yeah, I'm not doing the Bryce Young. That was another question in the expert survey. Actually, was about. Well, I think Bernie phrased it as, "What would have to happen for you to draft Bryce Young in 2024?" So, like, or what under what circumstances would you draft Bryce Young? And I believe I said absolutely not, zero, none. There's not a
the company. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, none. I don't hate Baker.
I don't hate Baker either.
Baker, we don't have stacks set up, but that's okay.
We don't have stacks set up yet.
Yeah, that's true. I'll just queue Baker or Wandale. I don't hate Algier. Do you have a preference on any of those guys?
Let's do Baker because
okay.
I want to see something. Where's Trey going right now in drafts? I mean, dude, he was looking really good at the end of the year.
He's good. I have small concerns because obviously Dave Canales is gone from the Bucs, and they brought in a new offensive coordinator. I don't know what they're going to do with the wide receiver group because they announced they're moving Godwin back into the slot, and that's where Palmer played. So Godwin moved out to the outside. So Evans and Godwin, guys don't play one. It's not Madden. Guys don't play exactly in the same alignment. But generally speaking, Godwin was on the outside, and historically he has been a slot receiver. Like with Brady, Godwin, and Jameis. Brady, Godwin was in the slot. He's supposed to move back to the slot, which actually I'm really bullish on Chris Godwin moving back into the slot for this year. I'm drafting him a bunch. But it does have me like, because I was into Palmer, and I think in the rankings, Palmer's above ADP. But I'm just struggling to figure out what to do with him exactly. Because I think he proved he can play at least a little bit. Kind of like a Shakir, right? Kind of like he proved enough to be like, I think he can play a little bit. I don't know exactly how good. But if he's going to be out there as a late round guy, I think he proved enough value. It's just like, are they going to put him on the outside now? Are they going to bring somebody in? I don't know.
Well, they might lose Evans too. I know the like popular consensus is he might resign with the Bucs, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's gone.
No. Shocked? No.
I mean, if the Bucs are smart,
I would
they
not
move
re-sign
on.
Mike Evans if I were the Bucs. Yeah.
They move on. Mike Evans is a win now player,
Correct.
right? And the Bucs are they're just not there. So if I was, I mean, unless they're just looking at ticket sale numbers and jersey sales and stuff, then you bring Mike Evans back. But if you're looking to actually build this franchise up, and they might not be. I mean, to be perfectly blunt, they just won their Super Bowl. They
Yeah.
sold out to get it, and they might just be like, "We'll just coast off of that for a few years."
Yeah.
Who knows what that front office is thinking? And they might just be like, "Let's just sign Mike Evans."
What I will say, Paulino says Evans to the Chiefs. I would just counter with, I think the Chiefs showed us their hand when they traded Tyreek Hill, that they're more so about riding Patrick Mahomes and him being able to elevate these guys and drafting some young players and taking shots on guys who flamed out elsewhere, like Kadarius Toney, like MVS, like Richie James, right? Guys that like taking cheap shots on those guys, not cheap shots, taking cheap roster spots on their wide receivers to try to find somebody like Rushy, right? Spend a second round pick on the rookie, put some crappy veterans around him and hope somebody pops, I think is the Chiefs model a little bit more. It doesn't mean they won't do it. I could, of course, be wrong. You want to take Palmer?
Yeah, unless there's someone else jumping out at you if you want to try to push them. Like I know clearly.
I mean,
like Wilson.
I like Roman Wilson, but let's take. I would like to take Trey Palmer actually.
Yeah,
it's not that. I mean, ADPs. We're in the 16th
matter.
round of a draft on February 12th. Like, really?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Anybody that tells you, like, let's push this, let's try to get some ADP value on Roman Wilson on February 12th.
Squeeze it out. In the big board on February 12th.
Yeah, exactly. After this, let's try to get our Andre Yoshivas rookies and sophomores value, in the 7th round or whatever. But I do think, actually, like the reason why I wanted to take Palmer is, and the reason why I brought up Baker was like just a little, like, I don't have any real negative sentiment around Baker at his cost. I actually might have him above ADP in rankings too. Like I said, Trey Palmer, I have like above rankings in ADP, but I'm never setting up Bucs stacks really generally. And I tend to prefer, as you mentioned, Roman Wilson and some of my rookie wide receivers that I like back here more. I take a lot of running backs back here because I take more 0 RB type teams. And so you run into, you're like, I don't have any real reason why I'm lower, below the market on Trey Palmer. None, zero. So like when I get an opportunity to try to take it on and see where it makes sense, I try to force myself to do it a little bit. I'm not forcing myself to do it on players I don't like, but on players I do, I'm at least like lukewarm on, I will try to do it in these drafts.
Totally fair. Can we look at the running backs just before it's our pick, just to kind of see what we're dealing with? Whew.
It's bad.
Whew.
It's so bad. So you obviously see the guys that I've taken, Abanikanda. We're back on the clock. See, we don't have to take Trey. We don't have to take Treylon Burks, so that's nice. That's nice. He took Roman Wilson. All right. He's not going to come back.
Do it.
I'm taking my guy.
Let's get him. All right.
One of these assholes is going to take him if I don't take him.
We took Malik Washington. I'm going to throw an idea out to the chat. Eric is going to get really mad at me for not running this by him first, but we're going to do it anyways. Would anyone be interested in a draft stream on the night of WrestleMania and doing like a watch along draft stream the Saturday night, probably because it's a 2-night thing? If there's interest, we'll consider it.
Yeah.
That's soon, 7 weeks away, but we can do some drafts. We can watch some wrestling and draft Malik Washington way too early.
We are all trying to figure out, Paulino, who did this. who could possibly have gotten Malik Washington, a slot receiver out of the University of Virginia, who won 3 games last year? Who possibly could have done this? Yeah, I might know. I might know who that is. Maybe the guy who has 80%. I literally have 80% of Malik Washington.
Dorito
But I
will
believe,
draft and watch anything.
yeah, we know, especially you're rich now.
That's true. You are rich now. The one caveat would be if I decide to go to WrestleMania. Obviously, I can't do it.
Yeah, where is it?
Philly.
Oh,
So not too far from me.
Yeah, not too far. I'll keep my Philly comments to myself. I happen to have been there
it's
several
awful.
different times. It's
so bad. You don't have to keep them to yourself.
They keep having live final. All the last live finals I made for either DK or FanDuel, they keep having them in Philly. I'm like, guys, please. Like, I live in St. Louis. I don't need to go to another shithole just because you're putting me up in a nice hotel. Like, can we go to Florida?
Do you want me to take all the heat off of you real quick? Philly cheesesteaks, not good.
Okay, exaggerate. That's an exaggeration. Overrated.
They are.
Okay,
overrated. They are very overrated.
I think they're overrated too. And I really like the foundational element. We're gonna get into this. I really like like when we talked about soup, right? We've gotten a lot of heat for our soup takes. Like the foundational elements of soup are just terrible. It's like broth, right? Yeah. And like the foundational elements are just bad. The foundational elements of a Philly cheesesteak are good. Like I'm intrigued. That sounds good. But the sum is not as good as the collection of parts, whatever the phrase is.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Like, but like, again, I always like to judge everything. Like, you're in prison, right? You're about to be electrocuted. What are you asking for? How far does it have to go to get to a Philly cheesesteak? And it's got to go pretty fucking far, actually.
Pretty far. I think I got Geno's or Pat's or whichever one, because those are the two everyone tells you to go to. And like, did I eat it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, man, I've never in my head said I need to go get another Philly cheesesteak after eating that.
And I get it every time. I've been to Philly just way too many times. No one that's not from Philly needs to go to Philly as many times as I've been. And I get it every time. And I'm just like, maybe it'll be better this time. As if they've changed the Philly cheesesteak over the course of my life. I'm 35. Like, it hasn't fucking changed.
We're on the clock
in this whole time. Okay, let me put Yoshi in here.
All right. Take a shot, Bateman. Take Bateman.
Absolutely not. Okay, you're right. This is probably a fair team to take Rashad Bateman on. You're right.
Just for once, we're gonna have so much Yoshi Voss take Bateman on this team.
It's true. It's true.
I
have no problems with this. Historical Anomaly says the Cheese Whiz is bad. I just can't get my head around the Cheese Whiz thing.
Well, that's what it is. Like, if we're talking legit Philly cheesesteaks, it's Cheese Whiz. You're starting to alter it. You're doctoring what a Philly cheesesteak is. We are discussing,
which is what I do now. To be clear, I when I go, I doctor it because I don't want the Cheese Whiz.
Yeah, which is fair. But I am talking about the Philly cheesesteak as is presented by Philadelphianites to you. Not great, just fine, edible.
Fine. Agreed. I'm not going to scoff. It's fine.
But I'm never
any late round running backs that you prefer to a Philly cheesesteak. Who are you taking? Like, what kind of late round running backs have you been taking?
God, I wish any of these late round running backs were as good as a Philly cheesesteak.
I know. I'll take a Philly cheesesteak. You can see who I take, obviously, on your screen here. Lots of Ronnie Rivers. Lots of Dylan Johnson. But I mean, you see why I take them.
Yeah,
you get back here. You want Dylan Johnson?
Yeah.
I'm just going to put these guys in here because I think we need to just structurally, I would like to get to at least 6 running backs here on this team.
That's what I was getting concerned about is we need more running backs.
Yeah.
And weirdly, there's none left.
Yeah. It is February 12th. We don't know. Like, we can tell ourselves a story on every rookie and every free agent known to mankind. And once you reach round 16, every running back is fucking useless. Completely useless.
Look how cooked some of these RBs are. Like,
it's so bad.
Like, we're not taking Kareem Hunt this year ever. We're not taking Dalvin Cook, Donta Foreman.
No.
Tyrion
Davis Price wasn't a thing when he was a first round or a third round rookie on the 49ers. He wasn't a thing. We're not taking him now. Yeah, Keontae Ingram, Jamal Williams. Alex Arma is a fucking fullback. I'm not kidding. He's a fullback. I don't know who this is. That you want to talk about Madden names? That's not a real name. DeMarcus Bowman with the K before the C.
DeMarcus Bowman is not a running back name. Bowman is a linebacker name, and I won't be convinced otherwise.
He's
so now
not a linebacker. He's very little.
All right, we're not going to get into the pizza talk right now. But
no, I don't want to
deep dish pizza is trash. So that's where we're going to go. We'll talk about it at some point.
Yeah,
we'll talk about pizza at some point.
We agree on too many food takes. I agree on deep dish. Also, you're a big bar pizza guy, right? You're from bar pizza territory. So I think that's probably why we agree on a lot of pizza takes, is because St. Louis style is bar pizza. It's a version of bar pizza, basically. So that's what I mean, I'm not saying bar pizza is my absolute favorite, or that St. Louis pizza is the best, because it's not. But I just like, that's where I came, right? That's where I came from. And then you go to Chicago. You come from bar pizza, and then you go to Chicago and you eat deep dish pizza, and you're like, this is like lasagna. This is not pizza. Yeah.
Why is there a canoe around the rest of the pizza stuff?
Right. I had to go crawl across a moat to get to this pizza. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Why did you put sauce and cheese in a raft? Like, what do we do?
It is huge. It's so huge. The difference in size between a bar pizza and a deep dish pizza is like is a 2-year-old to the person on the, what's the shows where they have these 600-pound people they can't get out of bed or whatever, is like comparing them next to each other is just wild.
If anyone's in Austin, Texas, tell me where to go eat this weekend, because I'm going to Austin this weekend to stay in a very haunted hotel. And I'm going to need to eat food in between.
Emerging food city. I haven't been, but I follow that. Austin is the new Silicon Valley of the startup space, big food space now in Austin. So I'm sure the people got.
I've heard Terry Black's is good barbecue. I've heard that. I might have to gander. Might have to take a check. And I have not had New Haven pizza, but I've heard that it's good. So I will at some point do it, because I go through Connecticut. I don't go through New Haven too often, though. All of this is for me to pitch the food channel in the Discord. Let's go in there and have some talks about food as well. Yeah.
This is the best take. Historical anomaly says a lot of food trucks. It's a big food truck city.
Cool.
I know it's lazy because we had him in here, and maybe our boy Chuck Amazing with his 4 quarterbacks and 4 tight ends will. I guess he's probably not going to take a wide receiver because he's got 3 already.
He's already got 3.
You only need to start 3, so there's no real reason.
You're only starting 3 of them.
Josh Reynolds. That'll do it. That'll save it.
Saved.
Wide receivers are saved with Josh Reynolds. Sorry, Chuck.
I'm not.
I'm gonna take Ronnie Rivers, because I'm actually pretty into Ronnie Rivers. Won't do the big spiel on him, but he's kind of one of my late round running. Like, there's not a lot to love. But what right now, and what I do feel somewhat strongly will be the Kyren Williams handcuff, is readily available in round 19 and 20. And like, I know that we're just talking about a handcuff, but like, the Rams handcuff is really valuable. And you tell me which one of these guys is really valuable. That's at least something I can, I can take to the bank.
We said that last year.
Yeah.
We
just keep doing. The market's going to keep letting us do this Rams running back thing, and it's like, guys, I know he's not good. I don't think Kyren Williams is that good, but guess what? He's going to be out there, so who gives a shit? And if Kyren gets hurt, next man up. We're just going to keep printing off of it. This whole channel is going to be built on Rams running backs.
And I'm not going to be sorry anymore when we make fun of a team, because I need to get back to being a heel. I need to be the quintessential heel of the best ball community again. So got to get back.
A lot of people vying for that prize over the years.
That's fair. Maybe I won't be the quintessential heel. Maybe I got to turn babyface again.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see this I know Chuck didn't ask for the sauce, but I just got to see what this guy's team is. Okay.
Oh, we're gonna look at it.
I'm
want
just
to.
looking right now. Out of the 107, Amon-Ra, Achane, Metcalf, Mahomes. Okay, fine. McBride, fine. Derrick Henry. Okay, we start to go off the rails. Derrick Henry, Brock Bowers, honestly, fine. Purdy, probably wouldn't take.
You gotta go Brock if you're gonna do.
Yeah, that's true. Brock. Then so round 9, we went really off the rails. Purdy is like defensible. I wouldn't take him, but is like at least defensible. Then TJ Hawkinson, tight end 3, right? Yeah. Third tight end through 9 rounds, TJ Hawkinson. Yeah. Third quarterback through 10. Oh shit, we're on the clock. Third quarterback through 10 rounds. All right, give me your favorite late round pick right now, and we'll take him.
Oh my god, I don't know, dude. I need to be scrolling and looking.
Okay, well then we're gonna take AT Perry because I only have 4%, and I actually want to up that.
Yeah, AT Perry's fine.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm enthralled by Chuck. Trevor Lawrence in the 10th, Singletary, Musgrave for the 4th tight end in the 12th round.
Yeah,
Jaleel McLaughlin. And what a hilarious group of wide receivers for a 4 wide receiver team. Adam Thielen, Keaton Mitchell, and Gus Edwards. Got to get Will Levis as the 4th.
That's an auto draft team. Like
AJ Dillon, who we obviously talked about earlier. That's so funny. And Madison, Alexander Madison. That's great. That's too funny.
It's a lot of fun. All right, let's go through our team.
Go for it.
Very, very quickly. We started with Puka Nacua, went Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle, Lamar, Mark Andrews, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, Troy Franklin, Josh Downs, followed by Khalil Shakir. Really hammered the wide receivers. Started hitting some rookie running backs, Blake Corum, Trey Benson, Michael Mayer for our second tight end, Baker Mayfield, brought that around with a Trey Palmer stack. Malik Washington pushed him up because he was going to get taken from us. Rashad Bateman for another stack with Lamar, Dylan Johnson, Ronnie Rivers, and A.T. Perry. I'm already in midseason form reviewing these teams.
That was good. That was well done. Also, honestly, that's a good team. I like that team. Sometimes it's a struggle on a stream to get a team that you like. Shuby was in his 150th draft, and the big board was sniping us, at every turn, and we still turned it into a pretty good team.
Yeah, decent.
I like that one. Anyway, we've been hanging out with you guys a long time. We appreciate you hanging out with us again in early February, drafting fantasy football teams. But the super quick housekeeping is, this is our plan. We're not going anywhere. If you want to draft fantasy football teams year round, you want to talk best ball, we got tons of stuff coming. The first kind of installment of 2024 Legendary Sickos with myself and Pat Corain is coming this week. I got some other guests coming. Of course, Rob and I will be drafting teams. We're going to try to see if we can get Rob to bring back his solo draft streams. We got tons of stuff coming. We're going to turn this baby into fully just everything year round. No breaks. No, the Super Bowl is over. No breaks. No breaks for us. The only other thing I will add is the other best ball sports. We're working on coming out with some stuff for that. I got MLB best ball and NBA playoff best ball rankings coming. We're working on the PGA stuff, and right now the plan is to make it all free for you guys. So if you come hang out, hit that like and subscribe button, support us. We'd really appreciate it. And we'll bring you some of the free stuff with some of these other best ball sports so we can get a taste of not 100% NFL action throughout the course of the season. But for sure, at least myself, I'll be back tomorrow night. I know Rob's always got Hometown Ghost Stories on Tuesday, but we'll probably be back doing some more drafting, talking about 2024 NFL best ball drafts tomorrow.
Jump in the Discord, jump in the food section. Let's talk about Austin food.
There you go.
Talk about how bad deep dish pizza is. Let us know if you want us to do the WrestleMania draft stream, where we obviously can't play it on stream, but we can all watch it together on Peacock while we're drafting teams. The Rock is going to be back. Cody Rhodes is going to try to finish the story this year against Roman Reigns, so we can be doing some drafts, we can be watching some wrestling, we can hang out, we can have fun with this year, guys. We are going to have a blast drafting best ball teams from February all the way until September. And then we're going to just do it again with the in-season stuff. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep drafting just like Shuby. Eric, end it for us.
All right. See you guys.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.